Hey, Internet, did you know there's a new podcast coming? It's called There's No Business Like. It's a podcast where friends and industry colleagues explore topics and interview leaders in the industry of live professional touring. We're going to drop our first episode in a few weeks, from our mouths to your ears. So this episode is going to be getting to know the quad producers. Yeah, that's all 5 of us. So Kevin, why don't we jump in with you? Can you give us a little bit of background about yourself and maybe where you work?
I'm Kevin Maynard. I'm the executive director of Quad City Arts, which is located in Rock Island, Illinois. We operate in a bi-state region in Iowa and Illinois, split by the Mississippi River, and we work in multiple cities. And that's
How many?
I'm guessing Quad Cities means 4.
Probably 4, right?
You would think that. So there's 5, and depending on who you talk to, up to 7. So.
Wow. And how do the people in the Quad Cities feel about this?
At this point, it's just accepted. There are shirts that make fun of the fact that there's actually 5 cities. There are businesses that tried to make quint cities a thing, the businesses are still around, but quint cities never took off.
So Bryan, you've actually in this episode already been curious about numbers. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Danielle. I'm Bryan Zelmer. I'm director of KU Presents at Kutztown University, which is located just above Philadelphia, between Allentown and Reading. We have a great program where we serve faculty and students, but our primary mission is actually to serve the greater community and bringing them onto campus to engage with the performing arts.
We're also joined here by Katie Miller.
Hey, Danielle. I'm Katie Miller. I'm the manager of community engagement at the Midland Center for the Arts in Midland, Michigan. And if you don't know where Midland is, it's exactly where you think it is, in the middle of Michigan. We are pretty much equidistant from any place you want to travel in the state that is more fun than Midland. So 2 hours from Detroit, 2 hours from Grand Rapids, 2.5 hours from beautiful Traverse City. We are the home of Dow Chemical, you might be familiar with, and really the home of mid-century modern architecture in the Midwest. We're really well known for Alden B. Dow designs and his influence on mid-century modern. The venue I work in is an Alden B. Dow venue, so I really work in it all day, every day. I'm really happy to be here with all of my friends.
One other person here on the pod is Josh Benson.
Hey, I'm Josh Benson.
I'm going to work on the transition. Show's great. The transitions
We're not editing
terrible.
this out, by the way. We're not editing. Go ahead, Josh.
Josh, kick it.
I'm Josh Benson, kicking it from Marion, Illinois, in the Marion Cultural and Civic Center. I'm the executive director there. And if it were a hand map, we would be all the way down at the bottom of the middle finger. But I don't have all of my middle finger, so I can't actually do the hand map. So I kind of failed at that.
And then our host for today's episode has not introduced herself. Please welcome Danielle Van Hook.
I'm Danielle Van Hook, and I'm the director of youth theater programs at the Alden, which is actually in the McLean Community Center. In McLean, Virginia. Fascinating about that connection. I do everything in our theater that involves youth and the performing arts.
You and Katie are similar in that, right? You both focus on youth.
Yeah, so that's actually how Danielle and I know each other, even though we live in very different states. So we know each other through our kind of theater for young audiences presenting work and some affinity group work and stuff that came about during the pandemic. And we became friends on Zoom, quite honestly.
It's cool that you have more of a body than just like the box, like it's been great to like see everybody like out in the open,
And I have to say, both of you have been a mentor to me already in that regard, because my program is bringing family programming back to our seasons after many years of being away from it. And I'm so not in that world. So I appreciate, you guys have helped me already. How does Kevin and Josh know each other? Because I knew you guys knew each other before we all got connected.
Yeah, I think we just met at a conference at an Arts Midwest and
both being Illinois presenters, we met that way. And then eventually got pressured to do a Spartan race together.
Yeah, we left Arts Midwest a little early to go run a Spartan race and then came back to finish out the fun.
That doesn't sound fun.
It was actually a really great time. And I'll be honest, without Benson there, I don't know that I would have gotten through it.
Danielle, I don't know if you know this. Talk about not fun. Kevin is preparing to run a 50-mile race.
Yeah, no, I'm training to run a 50-miler, and it is just as dumb as it sounds.
But at least it's not 100 miles.
That's right. I'm stopping halfway at this one.
So what's the point of our podcast, everybody? Everyone's wondering, okay, who cares why you know each other? What's the point, right?
Is this not the point? Just to sit around a table and talk?
No.
No, Kevin.
Oh, we got to do work here?
Yeah. This is a podcast where we're going to talk about the business of the live professional touring arts industry.
Oh, I get it. There's no business like show business. Okay.
So really the whole point of this podcast is to bring a group of close friends and colleagues together to really dive into, a behind the scenes peek of what the business of show business is. So we're going to talk to industry professionals from across the industry. So presenters, agents, artists, consultants, marketing folks, and get different perspectives on this podcast about what it takes to make our, the work that we do actually happen, the business behind it. So we're going to talk contracting and booking artists and access to the arts and all sorts of different things. But, in a really conversational and fun manner, because we all really are great friends and colleagues. And we hope to really help you as our listener build relationships with us and with our guests.
Yeah, and maybe introduce you to some new people. And I think one of the great things about this format of this podcast is that it's able to teach new presenters or new individuals to the industry in the same way that we learned, by making relationships and talking to people. So this is just a good intro to that.
Well, additionally, it's a way for us to preserve a large amount of institutional knowledge. The face of our industry looks completely different after the pandemic, and so much institutional knowledge has already been lost. So this is a chance for us to retain some of that, document some of that, and put it out there for new colleagues coming in to where they've got an easy access point to gain some of that institutional knowledge in a much easier, faster way.
Yeah.
As we start to move into these episodes, hearing interviews with people and being able to share what was enlightened for us, despite us all having a fair amount of experience in the industry at this point, we're still learning things constantly, especially through these interviews. And I think that's a wonderful opportunity here.
And like the broad way that we refer to ourselves is presenters, but the five of us, we don't have this, it doesn't look the same in all of our seasons. The formula for how we present and what we present and how frequently and how often and the finances of all of that is completely different. And it's different between the five of us. And so there's so much that is the same between what we do, but yet at the same time, sort of your perspective and within whatever organization you're in is so unique.
That's a great point, Danielle, because we each of our communities are different, and these jobs, even though they're the same roles and might be described the same way in a job description, it is very tailored to the community and where you are located. And what I love in talking with all these different people is you get to learn and think about things in a different way by stepping out of your community, but then you get to mold it and make it in a new way for your community to work.
Yeah, you get to steal ideas and figure out how to do those cool things in your community. And I think that's always been the most interesting part of coming to conferences and meeting up with colleagues and hearing about what they're doing and going, oh, that's really cool. How can I make that work in my community? And sometimes it's as easy as going, I'm going to do exactly what you did. And then sometimes it's, you got to shift and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we also were discussing amongst ourselves the need for kind of information download for new colleagues, either coming into the industry from other, places in the world, or emerging talent, people just graduating from college and university and coming in kind of in this really insane time where you have to be 2 feet in, hit the ground running to be effective.
That learning curve has always traditionally been so slow within this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to get around that is to reach out and to connect with someone. And this is a great way for us to create a new, easier entry point. And at the same time, maintain some of that institutional knowledge that is leaving with the Great Resignation and where people have left the industry so heavily throughout the pandemic. and the entire landscape of our industry looks different, it's an opportunity for us to maintain some of that institutional knowledge and to keep that going.
We were also talking about what do you wish you knew coming into it? And I was interested by all of the different things that we all said. And, it's how do you wish you knew that, which means you know it now. And how did you find out about it? Well, it was just off the cuff. Someone let you into a process. Someone let you watch how it happens. And then you learned that. It wasn't necessarily a course at a conference or, a chapter in a book or whatever. It was just on the ground seeing.
For me, the thing that I wish I had known in the beginning is the most important thing about doing business in this industry, which is that it's all about the relationships and the communication and talking.
Amen.
And that it's not an adversarial, us against them. I'm trying to get the best deal for me and forget everybody else. If we're not focused on each other and there's not an empathy there to where the artist can survive and do well, and we can do well at the same time, and that the industry is equitable only by building those relationships and moving forward together.
Yeah, and I just want to go off of something you just said there. During the pandemic, one of the ways you were trying to push out content was by coming up with a podcast. And what that time showed me is without artists, we're just venues.
Yeah, it's
like
mutually,
we need each other.
Yes.
Isn't the best deal for me 5 years down the line if that person can't afford to still be in business?
Right.
If that agent can't afford to still be traveling and finding these great things that make it so easy for me to go out and to buy such high quality performing arts and keep the artist able to work and to create more. The best deal for me right now isn't undercutting all of that process work.
The goal of our podcast and our conversations and these interviews we're going to be bringing to you is to really demonstrate how much of an ecosystem our industry is and how much trust and transparency we need from this moment forward, right?
I'm so glad you're here to
that was very
ground us and bring us back.
Before we end, I just want to let you guys in on a secret. That was the ending right there. That was the ending right there, I think.
I don't know how to end this.
How do we end this?